This is actually an executive order designating the cartels and other organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations.
That's a big one.
We do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you from Fox News' Bill Maloogian reporting of a situation happening at the border right now. He is reporting per multiple law enforcement sources within the last hour, Border Patrol agents near Fronton, Texas, were fired upon from Mexico by suspected cartel gunmen as a group of illegal aliens were being brought across the river.
And with President Trump's immigration crackdown, ICE now conducting operations nationwide. We are tracking this so far. At least 2,400 arrests have been made in major cities like New York, Chicago, Boston, Denver, Seattle, and others.
Things are heating up at the border with Mexican cartel members attacking U.S. Border Patrol. A Democratic senator put Sunny Hostin in her place after talking about political prosecution of President Trump. And Vice President JD Vance, he does more work than Kamala Harris within less than a week as second in command. Guys, we have a lot to go through today, so let's go ahead and start off with The View and Sunny Hostin being speechless by Senator John Fetterman. Check this out. And guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for hitting the like button and for sharing this video. We really need to get the truth out, and I appreciate the support, you guys.
I'm on record criticizing going after Hunter Biden, and I also agreed that the trial in this city, in New York, was politically motivated, that wouldn't otherwise have been prosecuted if it was someone else.
Just for clarification, did you mean that the 34-count case in which Donald Trump was found guilty of various financial crimes was politically motivated here in New York?
I found that when the judicial system gets weaponized and targeted political enemies for political gain, I think that's inappropriate, and I think that degrades our collective trust.
And you guys might remember, Fetterman's getting a lot of criticism from within his own party for even talking to President Trump, let alone agreeing with some of the things that he said. But he's the one who's made the most sense since he's been going on record to say that he's not rooting against Trump, and that by doing something like that, you'd be rooting against the nation. Because some Democrats would rather see Donald Trump fail than the United States succeed. I know it's completely ridiculous, but it's the simple truth.
You did get a lot of criticism for it from some people who thought you going to Mar-a-Lago gives cover to Trump by creating the solution that he's amenable to working with Democrats. I was very supportive of when people like Mitt Romney and Rob Portman worked with Joe Biden. So I understand the need for bipartisanship. I didn't love the optics of you going to Mar-a-Lago. He was going to, which is his palace. He was going to be in Washington a week later. But what was your goal? And do you feel ultimately you were successful?
Well, here's what happened. I was being lazy on the couch like Friday night, and my team reached out saying, "Hey," and I don't know if this is like a trolling or a hoax, but they extended an invitation. You know, what do you think? I'm like, well, I mean, if they're playing it straight, then I think it's pretty reasonable to have a conversation. You know, inviting me to engage, and I visited it. So maybe some people would be critical of that, but you know, for me, engaging the president, I think when you're in this business, I mean, that's part of the job.
Now, speaking of jobs, Vice President JD Vance, he's picking up where President Trump left off. His first official trip as VP landed him in Damascus, Virginia. Now, some of you guys might remember that JD Vance promised last year that he would go back and visit the areas that were affected by Hurricane Helene.
Tropical storm Helene ripped through our area just 4 months ago, and the devastation it brought with it still affects Virginians today. 10 News reporter Jason Freund is working for you as Vice President JD Vance visited the state today to personally oversee how the damage is affecting the community. So, Jason, what can you tell us?
Well, Rachel, Lindsay, Vance was not alone when he visited today in Virginia, as Governor Glenn Youngkin was also by his side as the vice president fulfilled a campaign promise of his by visiting the people of Damascus, Virginia. As the vice president and governor toured the town of Damascus, one talking point became common. Federal bureaucrats have been too slow.
I think the country has decided collectively that we want to help the regions of our country that were devastated by this flood. So why are the bureaucrats not doing the American people's will and frankly holding up some of the aid here?
Youngkin backed Vance up and brought up his recent inquiries into more federal funding, but says the past administration has dropped that ball.
What we also see is the federal government has really ground to a halt in getting the resources to us. There was a very large CR passed with a lot of disaster funding in it, and that money needs to flow.
To Youngkin, southwestern Virginia has been through enough devastation, and to wait another day is a day too long.
As the vice president said, folks can't wait. They've been waiting for 4 months since this storm, and they don't need to wait another day.
Before Vance left, however, he did promise the region that the Trump administration would not forget about them anytime soon.
Look, this is a part of our country, Appalachian Virginia, that has been ignored and left behind for decades, for generations in this country. Again, we're never going to be perfect, but I promise you that this administration will not forget you. We love you, we're rooting for you, and we want to be part of this incredible recovery here in southwestern Virginia. God bless you guys. Thanks for being here.
Now, I'm confused. Where is the word salad? Do you mean to tell me that we now have a vice president who doesn't focus on photo ops and scripted interviews? Because I'm pretty sure JD Vance didn't bring an entire teleprompter setup with him here, right? But enough about the past. The vice president is showing that much like President Trump, he will be visible and he will go to places that need him. And just like the president, JD Vance does not shy away from the press.
Mr. Vice President, can you preview at all what some of the specific changes you'd like to see with regard to FEMA's response? And does that include possibly eliminating the agency as the president has suggested?
Well, so first of all, it's not just FEMA, right? There's Housing and Urban Development, there's the Department of Agriculture. There's a lot of different agencies that are coordinating a response to this particular problem. And a couple of things that particularly seem to matter the most to the people of Damascus is, one, this incredible bike trail and hiking trail that runs along these mountains is a major source of economic opportunity and economic development, right? People come in, they stay in Airbnbs, they stay in bed and breakfast, they go to the coffee shops, they go to the restaurants. But unfortunately, the part of that trail that is managed and monitored by the federal government has been way too slow to actually start that rebuilding process. That's something that we want to focus on immediately. I think a second big issue is, and the governor knows these numbers better than I do, but I believe the maximum you can get from FEMA for home rebuilding is about $42,000, right? The average amount of damage, as I heard today, is about $130,000, right? So that's a massive, $80,000, $90,000 shortfall that we need to make sure that other parts of the federal government are fixing.
Moving on to some troubling news here. The Mexican cartel seems to be escalating the situation at the border.
Mexico fires shots at Border Patrol agents in Fronton, Texas. This all happened about 1 hour ago. Law enforcement tells Bill Malugin it happened as cartel members tried to bring a group of illegal immigrants across the river. The agents fired back. No one on either side was hit. The group of illegal immigrants did not make it across the Red River. Besides the shooting, reports are coming out that the cartel are planting bombs on the road to the U.S.-Mexico border.
An urgent warning for people traveling back and forth from Mexico. Officials say cartel members near Brownsville have been placing explosives along the roadway. The News 4 I-Team's Jordan Elder found out who they're targeting and why officials in both countries are urging you to be careful.
Don't touch. Don't move.
There's a lot of changes that are coming to our borders, guys. And with these new actions, do you think that they can be considered as terrorist acts? Let me know. Change is now coming to the federal government as the Trump administration is now starting to get to people. Now, I covered this in a previous video that you all definitely should check out. As always, thanks so much for hitting the like button and for sharing this video. We'll see you guys next time.